Hey everyone, big thanks again to all of you who have subscribed and supported my channel. I really appreciate you guys, and I'm so glad you're enjoying the horror stories I write. Sending you all my love. And if you're new here, definitely hit that like button and subscribe so we can grow our Creepypasta community and get even more scary stories going. Tonight, I've got a really interesting creepypasta for you. It mixes the prophecies of Baba Vanga, the blind Balkan prophetess, with a mysterious fog that blankets the world. Stick around till the end to see how 4 friends from the US battled something that swallowed the entire world in 2025. Enjoy. I should have known something was wrong when the streetlights started dying. We were in Ethan's basement that night, the 4 of us, as always, scattered across beanbags sticky with decade-old soda. Mark was ranting about his ex again, his voice bouncing off the taxidermied deer head on the wall. She said I lack emotional depth. Bro, she cried during Fast and Furious 10. Tessa snorted into her chai, the steam fogging her round glasses. Maybe don't text her memes of screaming goats at 3 a.m. Nah, that's genius, Ethan said, grinning as he scrolled through his phone. His piercings glinted in the blue light, a crowbar of a smile. Girls love goats, scientifically proven. Then he froze. You guys seeing this? He tilted his screen. A Reddit thread, flooded with upvotes. Baba Vanga's 2025 fog is real. Photo evidence. The photo was blurry, taken through a Rain Street window. A wall of fog loomed over pine trees too white, too thick. In the center, a shadowy figure stretched impossibly tall, limbs jagged like broken forks. Mark leaned in. Photoshop. The legs are all wrong. Not the legs, Tessa whispered. The face. I zoomed in. My thumb left a smudge on the glass. There was no face, just a hollow where features should have been, dripping with strands of something. Hair. Smoke. My stomach turned. It reminded me of spider silk, the way it clung wetly to the figure's cheeks. Bullshit, Mark said, but his knee bounced like a jackhammer. Ethan read aloud from the top comment. Heard the whispers last night. Sounded like my dead grandma singing Frère Jacques. We laughed. Too loud. Too long. The taxidermy deer's glass eyes stared at me. That night, I dreamt of static. Not the harmless kind from old TVs. This was alive, a swarm of wasps in my skull, buzzing in time with my pulse. Behind the noise, a voice. Lila. Lila, can you see me now? I woke choking. My bedroom walls were sweating. Beads of moisture slid down the posters of my favorite bands, warping their faces into smeared gargoyles. When I texted the group chat, Ethan replied instantly, Dude, I heard it too. Tessa. Heard what? Me. The static. 3 dots bounced. Then, Mark. I didn't hear shit, but my dog's been howling at the closet for an hour. We didn't sleep again that night. January tasted like burnt wires and snow that refused to melt. The first verified footage came from a Czech hiker. Grainy, shaky, the kind of video that makes you car sick. A wall of fog swallowed a valley in the Carpathians, devouring pine trees mid-frame. The hiker panned to his friend, who whispered, "Do you hear that?" before the audio cut to a high-pitched whine. The video ended with the fog surging forward, pixelating into static. "Deepfake," Mark declared. tossing his phone onto Tessa's cluttered desk. We'd started meeting at her apartment, a cramped studio that smelled of sage and cat pee, after Ethan's basement began feeling watched. The fog moves like gelatin, not natural. Natural. Tessa pulled up a satellite map, her fingers trembling. Red dots marked the fog's path. Romania, Turkey, Crane. It's following railway lines, rivers, like it's feeding on something. Ethan scrolled through conspiracy threads, his nose bleeding again. It had started last week. Thin trickles he blamed on dry air. But the blood was too dark, almost oily. This guy in Kiev said the fog smells like his wife's perfume. She died in 2021. I chewed my thumbnail raw. Just a story. Just another creepypasta. But then the Tokyo live streams began. We watched them huddled around Tessa's laptop, knees touching. A Twitch streamer named Akira was filming the fog's approach from his Shibuya balcony. Kore wa PFX no yona mono ja nai. Kore wa tokushu ekosu janai, he rasped. The fog loomed behind him, glowing faintly, as if lit from within. Why isn't it dissolving? Mark muttered. Wind should have... Akira screamed. Not in fear, in ecstasy. He dropped his phone, clawing at his face as the fog enveloped him. The last frame showed his hand melting into the mist, fingers elongating into boneless tentacles. The video racked up 10 million views before the Japanese government scrubbed it. February 14th, 2025. Valentine's Day. Mum called, her voice tinny through bad reception. You're still coming Sunday, right? I'm making pot roast. Sure, Mum. I stared at the rash on my wrist, a spiral of blisters that hadn't been there yesterday. Gotta go. Love you. Ethan picked me up in his dented Corolla. His left eye was bloodshot, the pupil blown wide. Mark's freaking out. Saw the fog in his bathroom mirror last night. Bullshit. It's still in Asia. Not anymore. He showed me a TikTok. A teenage girl in Anchorage, Alaska, filming the northern lights. Green ribbons danced until they curdled. The fog poured from the sky like inverted lightning swallowing her mid-scream. The comments were worse. It's in my walls. Grandma woke up speaking Bulgarian. Baba Vanga was right. We're all gonna die smiling. We found Mark at Tessa's, chugging Pepto-Bismol. His beard was patchy, skin peeling like old wallpaper. I'm not crazy, he hissed. It was her, the blind lady, standing in my shower. Tessa spun her laptop. Security footage from Istanbul airport. People sprinting as fog oozed from vents. A child stopped, head tilting 90 degrees, her mouth unhinged, releasing a sound that shattered the camera. They're calling it Sesizlik Cha, Tessa whispered. The age of silence. Entire cities. Just gone. No bodies. No debris. Just this. She zoomed in on a street in Kiev. Cars idling at green lights. Coffee cups still steaming on cafe tables. A single high-heel abandoned mid-crosswalk. Ethan laughed, a jagged broken sound. Zombies would have been cooler. March 3rd, 2025. The fog reached Toronto. We watched CNN in Tessa's bathtub, the only spot without mold. A reporter in a hazmat suit stood on Lake Ontario's shore, yelling over the wind. Unprecedented meteorological event, possibly linked to... The fog appeared behind her. Not on the horizon, right there, as if it had been waiting off camera. It wasn't white anymore, It pulsed with colours that hurt my teeth. Bruise purple, gangrene green. The reporter turned. Oh God, it's singing. Her helmet cracked. Fog slithered into the visor, filling her mouth. She collapsed, convulsing as her skin split like overripe fruit. The camera toppled, capturing her booze dissolving into a puddle of black sludge. The broadcast cut to static. Tessa vomited into the toilet. Mark punched the wall, knuckles splitting. We need guns, or a bunker, or we accept it, Ethan murmured. He'd stopped blinking. His good eye tracked something we couldn't see. It's too big, too old. Baba Vanga didn't predict it. She warned it. That night, I found him in Tessa's closet, whispering to a mothball jar. It's okay. They'll make it quick. Ethan? He turned. His pupils were gone. Just milky orbs, veined with black. You hear them too, right? The choir. I didn't. But the blisters on my wrist had formed letters. Bukaji. When I googled it, Tessa caught me. It's Bulgarian, she said, voice hollow. Show them. The alerts hit at 3:17 a.m. Emergency. Mysterious fog approaching Boston. Seek shelter. Mark arrived first, reeking of whiskey. My dad. He tried to board up the house. The fog came through the walls, left this on his pillow. He tossed me a Polaroid. A man's silhouette, mid-screen, mouth stretched impossibly wide. Fog poured from his eye sockets. That's not your dad, I said. It is. Mark lifted his shirt. His ribs were visible through translucent skin. See, I'm becoming glass. It wants us see-through. Tessa came next, her glasses taped to the bridge. Power's out downtown. Phones only work near windows. Ethan was last. He brought a knife. For protection, he said, though his smile said otherwise. His right arm was wrapped in gauze, leaking something that wasn't blood. We barricaded the door as wind howled, a sound too shrill, too alive. The windows frosted instantly, not with ice, with fungus, black, feathery tendrils that spelled words, Slepi Lisi. Are you blind? Tessa sobbed. Mark prayed. Ethan pressed his ear to the floor, grinning. They're here, he whispered. Outside, the fog swallowed the moon. The fog didn't roar. It hummed, a sound that bypassed the ears and nested directly in the molars, a vibration that turned saliva to acid. We huddled in Tessa's bathroom, the only room without windows. Ethan clutched his knife, tracing the blade along his forearm. Chuvaisis liepi, he muttered. Beware the blind. Mark's skin had turned glass clear. I could see his heartbeat through his ribs, a frantic bird trapped in bone. It's in the vents, he wheezed, pressing his ear to the wall, talking in radio signals. Tessa gripped my hand. Her glasses were cracked, one lens missing. The exposed eye wept a viscous yellow fluid. It's not real, she chanted. It's not real, it's not real. A knock. 4 precise raps on the bathroom door. Ethan's head snapped up. That's not the fog. His voice dripped with something worse than fear. Recognition. Mark, Tessa called. No one answered. But Mark was right there, his translucent fingers clawing at his throat. The knocking came again. Tap, 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 tap. In unison, our phones buzzed. Unknown number. Frère Jacques. Frère Jacques. Ethan lunged for the door. It's a trick. Don't... The lights died. The first thing I noticed, the smell. Burnt hair and spoiled milk. Flashlight, Tessa screamed. Ethan fumbled with his phone. The beam revealed Mark pressed against the fogged mirror, his palms splayed like starfish. "It's inside," he gurgled. The mirror wasn't fogged by breath. Tendrils of mist oozed from the glass, wrapping around Mark's wrists. His skin sizzled where it touched, peeling back to reveal muscle glistening like raw steak. "Pull him." I grabbed Mark's waist, his flesh squished like overripe fruit. The mirror cracked, not outward, inward. A black void yawned behind the glass. The fog yanked and Mark's arm elongated, bones snapping like twigs as his fingers brushed the void. "Let go." Ethan slashed at the tendrils. The knife passed through them and sank into Mark's shoulder. Mark didn't scream. He laughed, a wet, gurgling sound, as the fog poured into his mouth. His jaw unhinged, teeth clattering to the floor like piano keys. Then, silence. The mirror healed itself. Mark was gone. All that remained, his severed index finger pointing accusingly at me. Tessa collapsed, clutching her stomach. "He's not dead. Can't be. Can't be." Ethan wiped the knife on his jeans. His pupils had consumed the irises, leaving 2 oil spill voids. "Stop lying. You saw his bones." "Shut up," I hissed. But Tessa wasn't listening. She crawled to the bathtub, muttering, "Mom? Mom, I'm here." The fog had infiltrated the pipes. It seeped from the drain, coalescing into the shape of a woman, Tessa's mother, down to the mole on her left cheek. The figure opened its arms. "Tess, no." I grabbed her ankle. "It's not her." But the figure sang, a lullaby in Bulgarian, voice harmonizing with the fog's hum. Tessa's missing eye swelled, bursting into a nest of translucent worms. She didn't flinch. "Mom, you came back." The fog woman beckoned. Tessa climbed into the tub, embracing the figure. Their bodies merged like ink in water. For a moment, I saw double. Tessa's freckles superimposed on her mother's wrinkles. Then the drain gurgled. Tessa's body contorted, limbs folding like origami as the fog sucked her down. Her glasses clattered into the void, the last thing to disappear, her smile. Ethan backed into the corner, knife raised. "You saw that, right?" "Right?" The fog seeped under the door, forming letters on the tiles. "Slepi Lisi, are you blind?" "Fuck your riddles." Ethan slashed at the words. The blade sparked, etching the tile. "Show yourself." The room breathed. Walls expanded and contracted, pushing us toward the center. Ethan's knife clattered away. He grabbed my shoulders, nails drawing blood. "It wants you." I heard them. They kept saying, "Lila, Lila, Lila." The fog surged from the sink, solidifying into hands that caressed Ethan's face. He froze, entranced, as the fingers plunged into his ears. "Ethan, fight it." But he was already gone. His head rotated 180 degrees, vertebrae crunching like popcorn. The hands re-emerged, clutching chunks of his brain, grey matter threaded with glowing fog. "Pokaži him," Ethan's corpse croaked through ruined vocal cords. "Show them." He lunged. I dodged, but his teeth sank into my calf. Hot blood splattered the tiles. His jaw unhinged, tongue elongating into a barbed tendril that lashed at my throat. I grabbed the knife. "Forgive me," I whispered, and plunged it into his remaining eye. Black ooze erupted, hissing as it ate through the floor. Ethan's body deflated, skin crumpling like a discarded candy wrapper, alone now. The bathroom door creaked open. Beyond lay not the apartment, but a cavernous void veined with pulsating fog. Shapes moved within, Mark's shattered grin, Tessa's worms writhing in an eyeless socket, Ethan's knife still embedded in his skull. A figure emerged, Baba Vanga, skeletal, eyes milky, hair replaced by fog. She pressed a bony finger to my bleeding calf. The wound sealed instantly, leaving a scar shaped like Cyrillic, S-L-E-P-A, blind. You are the witness, she hissed through rotted gums, the anchor. The fog enveloped me, not to kill, to show. Cities dissolved into fractal patterns. Screams harmonized into a hymn. Time unraveled. I saw Mom's pot roast burning, Dad leaving for cigarettes in 2008, my own birth, all happening now. And beneath it all, the fog, ancient, hungry, amused by our panic. When consciousness returned, I was on the rooftop. The fog waited, patient, and in my pocket, Ethan's knife, still dripping with his eyes black bile. The rooftop was a bone. I stood at its edge, barefoot, the concrete gnawing at my soles. Below, Boston had become a fossil. Cars encased in foggy amber, streetlights smothered like candle flames. The sky was gone. Only the hum remained, vibrating in my hollow chest. Baba Vanga's scar burned, slaper, blind. But I saw everything. The fog wasn't weather. It was a mouth, a throat, a digestive tract unspooling across millennia. And we, the arrogant, the fragile, were nothing but nutrients. Why show me? I whispered. The fog answered by splitting my skull. I float in a primordial ocean. Not water, something thicker, older. My body unravels into filaments, merging with 1,000 other threads. We are the fog, a collective of forgotten gods, starved by humanity's disbelief. Baba Vanga was our last prophet, our canary, but you are our gate. A desert, a man in a cassock screams as the fog peels his face like fruit. God is here, God is... His mouth fills with locusts made of static. In Kyoto, a scientist's lab coat melts into her skin as equations leak from her ears. It's not evil, she gasps. It's hungry. Baba Vanga at 12, eyes still bleeding from the tornado that blinded her. The fog slips into her wounds, whispering, they'll call you a liar, but we'll make them see. She claws at her face, but the fog stitches her lips shut. A wedding veil of mist descends. I woke choking on someone else's memories. The scar on my calf had spread, branching into my veins like frost on glass. My left hand was translucent, Mark's curse. Worms wriggled under my right eyelid. Tessa's gift. Ethan's knife trembled in my grip, coated in his drying bile. I won't be your puppet, I spat. The fog laughed through me, a wet rattle in my lungs. Puppet, you're the priestess. The rooftop door burst open. They shuffled out, not people. Shadows wearing skin. Mark, his jaw hanging by tendons, fingers fused into glass claws. Tessa, eye sockets teeming with worms, hair replaced by fog. Ethan, split from navel to throat, ribs cradling a pulsing fog heart. Join us, they gurgled in unison. Ethan's corpse extended a hand. His palm bore the same scar as mine. Slepper. No. I stepped backward, heels hanging over the void. You're not them. Mark lunged. I swung the knife. It passed through his chest, releasing a howl that wasn't his. The fog recoiled, hissing. Foolish girl, you owe us. I owe them vengeance. Tessa's worms surged toward me. I slashed, their bodies bursting into ash. You took my friends, my life, We took nothing. The fog's voice splintered into Mom's, Dad's, my third-grade teachers. You offered them. Every click on a conspiracy thread, every laugh at fake warnings. You craved the end. Ethan's corpse grinned. You wanted to be the final girl. The blade slipped from my hand. They were right. I'm 9, hiding in Mom's closet during a storm. Dad's shouting. Glass shatters. I cover my ears, whispering, make it stop. Make it all stop. The fog curls under the door. Deal, it whispers. The scar erupted. Fog poured from my pores, my mouth, my tear ducts. I wasn't dissolving. I was ascending. Mark's glass claws embraced me. See, no more pain. Tessa's worms kissed my cheeks. No more lies. Ethan's fog heart merged with mine. Just peace. The city below crumbled. Or maybe I finally saw it clearly. A rotted carcass, picked clean by vultures in suits. Baba Vanga appeared, her veil lifting. Beneath it, my face. Now you see, we said together. I leapt, not falling, flying. They say the fog vanished at dawn. They lie. It's in the Wi-Fi signals now, the 5G towers, the static between heartbeats. Sometimes, when you're alone, you'll hear us. Frère Jacques, Frère Jacques. Mark's glass teeth clinking, Tessa's worms humming, Ethan's heart pulsing. And me? I'm the voice in your phone's autocorrect, the shadow that types sleper when you search for answers. Look outside tonight. The fog isn't white anymore. It's the color of understanding.